Hello, everyone. In today's lesson, we will learn about some of the most common errors that people tend to make while constructing sentences in English. And these errors are so common that they often occur in the verbal and written discourse of people from almost all age groups. So let's try and understand some of these errors, and let's also learn how to frame sentences that are error-free. Let's get started. First one is from my point of view versus in my point of view. And well, the answer is from my point of view. In my point of view is grammatically incorrect. If you want to say in my, you have to say in my view, but definitely not in my point of view. Let's have a look at a few examples. As you can see, there are two gentlemen talking to each other, probably in a conference room. And then one of them says, from my point of view, we should sign the deal. It simply means, in my opinion, we should sign the deal. Please notice the use of the words from my point of view and not in my point of view. Let's take another example. In my view, the restaurant is overpriced. Again, in my view simply means in my opinion. I feel that. I think so. So either you say from my point of view, the restaurant is overpriced, or in my view, the restaurant is overpriced. The next one is affect versus effect. Now, over here, you need to understand that both these words are actually correct, but they have different uses. Then, how do we decide whether to use the word affect or effect when both are absolutely correct? Well, the answer is you need to know, you need to understand, you need to ask yourself this question whether we want to use it as a noun or as a verb. The word affect is a verb, whereas the word effect with an E is a noun. Let's understand this with examples. Let's say there's a classroom discussion going on, and the question is, how does global warming affect the planet? Now, here the word affect is used as a verb. Hence, we use affect with an A. But let's say you want to transform the same sentence and you want to use the word effect. In that case, you will have to use the word effect as a noun. So in that case, the sentence would be, what is the effect of global warming on the planet? Here, the word effect serves as a noun and not as a verb. Let's move on to the third one, walking down the memory lane. This is a beautiful expression, but with a small error in this. When you kind of think about the past and when you turn nostalgic and you want to think about those past events and you want to relive them in your memory, in a way you get transported to your past. But the error over here is the article the. This is a problem because the correct expression is walking down memory lane and not walking down the memory lane. For instance, walking down memory lane, he found himself smiling at the thought of his old childhood home. So maybe he's thinking about his old childhood home. So in his memory, he has been transported to his old childhood home, which makes him smile. So walking down memory lane and not walking down the memory lane. Same goes for the next one. The college reunion felt like walking down memory lane as friends shared their stories of their youth. So again, in a college reunion, when friends get together after a very long time and they think about the time spent together in their days of youth when they were in college, they walk down memory lane and not walk down the memory lane. So walking down memory lane simply means you think about the past. You relive those past events in your memory. Let's come to the first common error, it's versus its. Now, the difference that you can notice on your screen is the use of this punctuation mark known as apostrophe. Now, again, both these words are absolutely correct, but they have different uses. For instance, the first one, it's without an apostrophe, is a possessive pronoun. It, in a way, shows ownership. For example, the book has lost some of its pages. Now, here we are referring to the pages of the book. Hence, it's in a way kind of an ownership. We are referring to the pages that belong to the book, right? Hence, the word it's will not have an apostrophe. Another example would be the company has revised some of its policies. Now, here we are referring to the policies of the company. Because the policies belong to the company, there is a kind of an ownership over here. Hence, the word its will not have an apostrophe. But the big question is, when does the word its have an apostrophe? When do we use an apostrophe with the word its? Let's have a look at these two examples on your screen. Remember, the word its with an apostrophe is simply a contraction for it is or it has. So if you want to say it is a pleasant day, you might just use a contraction and say it's a pleasant day, which means it is a pleasant day. Similarly, it's been a long time since I heard from you. Here, the word it's with an apostrophe is a contraction for it has. Hence, it means it has been a long time since I heard from you. Right? So remember, if I go back to the previous example, you definitely don't want to say the company has revised some of its policies. Hence, we don't use an apostrophe in the word it's, because it's with an apostrophe would mean it is or it has. Let's come to the fifth common error, and this one is related to order of pronouns. And to be very honest, it's not just about the order of pronouns, it's also about the correct use of pronouns. Let's understand this with an example. Look at this sentence. John and me went to the party. Now, here, the pronoun me is grammatically incorrect. In fact, this is a very common error when you ask some people to introduce themselves. They begin their introduction with a statement like, myself, Jack Dawson, which is incorrect. You should either say, I am Jack Dawson or my name is Jack Dawson. But you won't say myself, Jack Dawson. Similarly, over here, John and me went to the party is incorrect. Instead of the word me, you should say John and I went to the party. Now, because we are taking into consideration the order of pronouns, the question is, can I write I and John went to the party? And well, the answer is no. You need to understand one thing. The pronoun I is a first person pronoun, and it should always come after the second person pronoun or the third person pronoun. Of course, John is not a pronoun, it's the name of a person, it's a noun. But in that case, John should come first, followed by the first person pronoun. Remember a very simple rule. When I talk about myself, I use the pronoun I. That's the first person pronoun. When I talk about you, that's the second person pronoun. And when I talk about somebody else, like he, she, they, it, these are all third person pronouns. So we need to understand that we always place the first person pronoun after, let's say, the third person pronoun, or like in this case, the noun. Let's have a look at this example. My friends and I were mesmerized by the performance. Now, the word mesmerized simply means completely enchanted or fascinated. But please note the order in which it's written. It's my friends and I cannot reword it as I and my friends. Why? Again, the same logic. I happens to be the first person pronoun, so it should come after my friends. Now, a question. What if we have first person pronoun, second person pronoun, and the third person pronoun in the same sentence? And for that, remember the correct order is 2, 3, 1, which means first we write the second person pronoun, then the third person pronoun, and then the first person pronoun. For example, here is a group of 3 students and they are talking to each other. So somebody says, you, she, and I must go to the library. Please notice the order of the pronouns over here. You, which is the second person pronoun, comes first. Then comes she, which is the third person pronoun. And then comes I, which is the first person pronoun. So you, she, and I is the correct order. Anything but this, for example, I, you, and she, or I, she, and you, or she, you, and I, or she, I, and you, would be considered grammatically incorrect. With this, I come to the end of the first session on understanding some of the most common errors in English language. Hope you enjoyed today's session and there was some learning for you. Thank you.